One of the most important things that project managers and project teams can do when they're delivering on a solution for a client is understand the user journey. So, what is a user journey? It's essentially a visual representation of how things work. And not just that, it's how it is experienced, the feelings, the thoughts, the actions of the end user. That could be your customer or that could be a role within your organization. And user journeys do this. They do this by creating a visual of not just the individual user's experience, which is very important, but the ecosystem that supports that journey. Let me show you how, step by step, to create a user journey. I like to use Miro because it's easy to learn, easy to use, and has a free component to it. And I'm going to show you in that tool today, but in my blog, I list several other technology tools you might want to try out, or maybe your company is already using. So what are the key steps to creating a user journey? Number one, define the persona. There's often more than one. If, for instance, you have customers, you might have new customers, returning customers, long-term customers. Each of those could be a persona. And each of those personas would have their own journey. Step two, defining key touch points. Touch points are those moments in time when there's an interaction, when either there's maybe a question posed by a customer or a potential customer, and then how that response comes to them. Maybe it's using a bot, maybe it's an email response, receiving guidance on a process, or a catalog with more information about a product they're interested in. Step three is addressing the actions and emotion, because the user journey is something that involves emotion. It's not just what's happening and do I understand what's happening? What step I'm in? Am I buying a product? Am I asking about a product? But it's also, how do I feel? Am I happy and engaged? Am I frustrated and getting toward angry because I'm not getting a response that I need? Those emotions are important, and registering those emotions and dealing with them in a proactive way can be the difference between having a community of users that are loyal and engaged with your brand and having disinterested people who walk away after the first interaction. You can stop with those first 3 points and build your as-is case, how things work today. But you want to go beyond that. You want to look for the improvements to that process. So do those first 3 points, have your personas, understand the touch point, and build your journey as it stands today. Next, you want to identify what the pain points are for those touch points and how to improve them. Asking customers or users to come in and verify your understanding of how things work, but more importantly, how they can be improved so that you understand what's not working and what's working well. And you don't have unintended consequences like we fixed all the things that actually were already working well, and we didn't really understand how these created unintended consequences for the customer so that their user journey just got worse. Have you ever installed an app and then had an update that actually made the user journey worse? That's one of those moments. It's refining the journey. This can be creating your current state, your phase 1 future state, and possibly a phase 2 and 3 future state. Document those journeys as well so that you're clear about where you're headed, what your strategy is, but what the experience will look like as well, related to those phased improvements over time. And lastly, if you really want to go a step further, and I recommend you do this, is you make a cross-functional interactive journey map. You've got your final user that's going to be using this product, and that could be an internal role or an external one, a customer, for instance. But you also need to understand all the supporting roles. So if, for instance, you have a process related to a customer service, you might have customer services, shipping, ordering, billing involved. You're going to want to include all of those roles so they understand when they're interacting with the customer, how they're part of the solution for customer issues, and also how the customer perceives those different parts, that they are working in union. You know, the worst thing that can happen is if a customer calls and says, I didn't get my thing, but you haven't organized the user journey to include the ordering department and the shipping department. That can be very frustrating and make a customer that is engaged angry and disengaged from your process. So user journeys that include this holistic view are oh so much more helpful. They're not only helpful to your end customer to make sure they get the right response, but that your teams can work together holistically to understand they're all playing a part in the customer experience. So now I want to take you through some step-by-step processes of how to do this. And often these are done in workshops. And I have a whole video about how to make a workshop happens, how to plan a workshop, how to execute it, and what to do in follow-up. Optimizing this process flow will really help you both cost takeout and also improve your employees' experience as well. That employee is going to give that customer a sense that you are a well-run organization. And who doesn't want that? How do you use it? I like to blow up these documents we've created today on the wall so my entire team can see it. As we're building processes, as we're engaging with the technology, the processes, the procedures, and the roles, I'm constantly referring back to that roadmap we're building to make sure, are we achieving our goals? Are we actually living up to the promise of that process? I hope you found this information helpful. If you want to know more about personas, and how to create a workshop, I'll put videos here for you to watch, and I'll put all the links below so you can get my free downloadable workbooks. And I'll see you next time on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Bye-bye, everybody.